Right, now this will tell us. And that's pretty conclusive. Still going. Close. I think he got it down.
How strong is he?
Oh, welcome back to the Pick and Go podcast, your one-stop shop for all things rugby union. And once again, I'm not joined in studio by Piri Wipu because, he stood me up again. So those are the headphones he was supposed to be using. Let's go and find out. Where is this fella, Piri Wipu?
Well, I've got my own headphone sticks.
Well, I can see you're not in Wellington. So where are you today, Piri?
Nah, I'm in my office in Palmerston.
The four-wheel drive office, right?
Exactly.
But we're also joined this week by our very good friend Ben Searle of Searley Talk Sports. Searley, welcome back in, big guy.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Missed it last week, so excited to rip in off a big weekend of Super Rugby. I feel like we found out we've got a bit of separation now. I feel like that top six is the top six we'll finish the year with, but I'm sure we'll talk more about it.
Wow, bit of separation. Okay, very good. But look, as we were just starting the recording, news over the radio waves, the Wi-Fi waves, is we now have an All Black coaching team. It's all set up now. I'll go to you first, Searley. What are your initial thoughts on, Dave Rennie's first group of assistant coaches?
Yeah, I'm excited. The one name I really wanted to see in there, in Tana, is in there. So that to me is a massive box tick. I think everyone already assumed that Neil Barnes was going to be in there, and he is, as that senior assistant coach. Of course, had great success with Dave Rennie at the Chiefs, and he's been around the traps, done plenty of stuff. Mike Blair, attack coach, he's with him at the moment in Japan at Kobe, so that made sense as well. Former Scotland captain, British and Irish Lions, so he ticks those boxes in terms of international experience that New Zealand Rugby were looking for as well. And then Jace Ryan keeps his role, which I'm a big fan of as well. I love the passion, the way he talks about the jersey and how much care he seems to put in both the players and his job. So I think we've got an exciting balance there, and one that with Dave Rennie at the helm will not only bleed that culture, but also have us playing attacking rugby and bring back perhaps some of that ruthless old school mindset with Barnes and Rennie as the senior figures amongst this coaching group.
Pity. Your thoughts? I wouldn't have thought that you would have been coached by any of these guys or had any sort of connection. Maybe Jason Wright? I don't know. Jason Wright? Oh, Tana, of course.
Tana would be the only one, being a Waianui lad, but also played with him at the Canes and also international level. But yeah, it was good to see, with that appointment that, we don't have to worry about it just being chat. It's actually confirmed. But like Shirley said, it's good to see Jason keep his opportunity in the coaching staff. It'll be interesting to see how everything works out with the other assistants, bringing together, I guess, their own style of coaching and trying to make sure that they, when they do get their chance to spend time with the players, the squad that's been selected, how quickly they can sort of pull them together, make them mould to the style of footy that they want to play, and start prepping for an exciting year.
So how long have you known that Tana was going to be assistant coach, Pity?
I haven't known that long. Geez, you're acting like he's still in Wellington. He lives in Auckland, man. Right. Come on.
Right. Come on, Wainui, very small place over the hill there. Very hard to keep a secret in Wainui.
Well, everyone in the family was sort of trying to congratulate him right from the get-go, but nothing had been confirmed at the time. So now that everything's out in in public knowledge, knowing that T's been appointed, everyone can stop speculating and start celebrating.
Searley, what does this mean for Moana Pasifika in terms of Tana? Does he get to coach out the rest of the Super Rugby Pacific season? Does he have to get out? How does this work?
Well, I assume Dave Rennie himself doesn't start till June, July, right? So surely the same applies to Tana. I see him coaching it out for sure. It's just another big blow for Moana, isn't it? They've lost a lot of players in the past, and now they've lost a coach that they clearly hold in high regard, not just in terms of his coaching ability, but what he brings to the culture of the team as well, and his understanding around what it takes to represent their Pacific heritage. So, yeah, another unfortunate blow for Moana. I'm keen to see what direction they go in for their head coaching role down the future, because it is a big job. They have a high player turnover, and they need someone in there that instantly gets the players' respect and is held in high regard, right? So, yeah, watch this space, I guess. But unfortunately, another blow for the team based out of Albany. It kind of seems to be stacking against them a little bit this year after what was such a positive year for them last year.
Very much so. Their best players seem to move on quite quickly, and now they lose their head coach, who, is an enormous figure in Pacific Island rugby and world rugby, of course. So it'll be very interesting to see who then picks up the head coaching role at Moana Pasifika from next season.
It's going to be interesting too, just quickly, like Scott Hansen, Bryn Evans, Tamati Allison. Those are some quality assistant coaches that have now been let go. There's only so many jobs in New Zealand. It's going to be interesting to see where these guys land up as well, whether it's here or overseas. I'm sure all will have great offers, but someone like a Tamati Allison wouldn't look out of place at a Moana or back in the Crusaders environment. So I guess we need to watch this space around those guys, and you can't help but feel a little sorry for them as well in terms of a byproduct of all of this, and guys like Tamati Allison, who I understand the players really love, but that's what happens when the head coach gets changed, isn't it?
It'll be very interesting to see where Razor ends up after this, and whether one or two of those assistants sort of follow him into whatever role he may take up next time.
The Blues have just bloody got a new head coach from Wellies too, so you never know. Bryn might end up going north to help out there, because I think there's rumour that poor Tito potentially might be leaving. I'm not entirely sure how true that is, so there's an opportunity there if that door opens. So Bryn could be looking for some opportunity there.
And the coaching carousel goes round and round and round. This is where. Speaking of assistant coaches, I think Matt Todd is assistant at the Crusaders at the moment, and it's his birthday today, so happy birthday to Matt Todd on the 24th of March, 2026. Right, we did the draft, and I don't think Searley was here when we got AI to ask, we asked AI what squad was the best squad, to rank them in order. Of course, as we know, Piti Wipu had the worst squad.
Agreed.
I had the next best squad. And then Steve Devine and Jeff Wilson combined had the second best squad, and Searley had the best squad. So over the past week, Lee has asked AI if Piti and I were in a battle for a third, fourth playoff, which team would come out on top, and if Searley played the combined team of Jeff and Steve's, which team would win the grand final. So let's just have a look what AI said. We'll start with me and Piti first for the third and fourth playoff.
Also,
did you say last week? Yeah. Did you say last week that I'm pretty sure it says would probably come last? So there's no actual fact that I'm gonna be last, right? So I don't know if this is AI, if this is you guys having a meeting beforehand just to go on here and be like, oh, well, we'll just put Piti last.
So you think this could be a conspiracy?
Wow, you never know. Paulie. You know, I mean, it's like you and your golf. No, it's straight down the middle. But everything else is wayward.
All
So
right.
I'm a bit concerned
Okay, so this
which
is
line
the
we're going down here.
this is the exact question that we asked AI. I asked people to draft Super Rugby teams using players who are currently playing in Super Rugby. If Paul and Pity's teams were to meet in a third, fourth place playoff, where the only thing on the line is pride, which team would come out on top and why? Please keep the answer to a paragraph. This is what AI said. Paul's team would likely come out on top in this pride-driven playoff, winning around 34-26, thanks to a higher ceiling of game-breaking talent and better late-game composure. With Beauden Barrett and Geordie Barrett controlling territory and tempo, they'd gradually outmaneuver Pity's more physical but less cohesive side, even though players like Cody Taylor and Harry Wilson keep Pity's team competitive through set piece and carries. The defining moment would likely come midway through the second half when a turnover forced by Dalton Papali'i sparks a sweeping counter-attack finished out wide, creating the decisive gap in a game that's otherwise open, fast, and high-scoring due to the lower defensive intensity typical of a third, fourth playoff. There we go. So that's what would happen. We also asked AI about a grand final. This is the exact question that we asked. I asked people to draft Super Rugby teams using players who are currently playing in Super Rugby. If Steve's and Searley's teams were to meet in a high-pressure, high-stakes, everything on the line, winner-takes-all final, whose team would win and why? Please keep your answer to a paragraph. Here we go. In a winner-takes-all final, Searley's team likely edges it due to superior game control, versatility, and big match composure, with Damian McKenzie pulling the strings and Will Jordan providing elite finishing and positional IQ. They have a more polished attacking spine, while the forward pack, anchored by Scott Barrett and Rob Valentini, offers greater physicality and breakdown dominance under pressure. Steve's and Jeff's side has dangerous strike runners like Lester Whanganuku and Fraser McRae, who could keep it close with momentum swings, but Searley's combination of tactical kicking, defensive structure, and clutch performers would likely prevail in the tight moments that decide finals. I'd expect something tight and tense, with Searley's side pulling away late around 27-22. The game probably stays within a score for most of the match, with Steve and Jeff's team striking through broken play and runners like Lester Whanganuku, but Searley's edge in composure and control, driven by Damian McKenzie and finished off by Will Jordan, would likely see them land the decisive try or penalty in the final 10 to 15 minutes. Here we go. That's what AI said. Anything to say about that, Searley?
I just couldn't agree more with AI, you know. I haven't been a big believer in the technology, but I think you've won me over now. When you talk about composure, you talk about strike, but an ability to control the game, that's the exact part of the team, the exact framework I had in my mind as I drafted this team. So it's really good to see myself and AI on the same page. I'd just like to thank our team's sponsors, everyone that believed in us, and the players for, of course, ending it on the paddock each and every week. It takes a team effort, and I'm privileged to be their owner, their coach, their motivator, their mentor, and I hope that we can take it out again next year.
Pity, have you got anything to add after finishing last in our competition?
Hang on, wait.
He finished because his wife is rubbish.
He's still hearing your explanation about the team.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, AI doesn't know anything about rugby. What are they talking about? It's good to take the wooden spoon this year. Hopefully we can come back stronger next year and work on my draft picking.
Does that mean you get number one draft pick next year? Surely.
Wow. I was first this year. Did it help me?
Yeah.
Damn
Or
it.
maybe he gets the first two. Anyway, at least he had, at least you had a bit of practice of that kind of speech when you were playing anyway, Pity. But anyway, we'll move on. We'll have a look at
Well,
last week's games and first game from last week, Friday night. Boy, this was supposed to be a fairly tight contest. The bookies did have the Canes as pretty warm favourites, to be fair, and in the end, it wasn't enough. They were just way too good for the Highlanders. They put 50 points on the Highlanders, and as you know, Searley, if this was an NRL game, well, then the Highlanders would be done for the season. They cannot win the grand final, but 50 points on the Highlanders in Otago, that's a big, big statement win for mine, Searley.
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't on last week's podcast because I was on the +6.5 line. I thought they were going to cover it and make it an interesting one. Yeah, Hurricanes just dominant, right? Highlanders off to a good start, and I thought they could be on. And then, was it 50 unanswered points? Yes, it was. They just really opened up the floodgates. I thought Cam Roigard controlled the game beautifully at 9. He's like having another first 5 out there. I thought Ruben Love looked amazing. Well, Geordie Barrett was really good too, of course. Whinianga Nofo just scores tries for fun. Warner Derns made a menace of that set piece for the Highlanders. And yeah, those loose forwards. Geez, the Canes have some good ones at the moment. When you're bringing Duplessis off the bench, it's hard to argue with the form of Devon Flanders at the moment, though, right? He's really putting his hand up for a possible All Blacks selection. So, yeah, the Canes firing on all cylinders. I think they love those conditions down there at the steamer lunchbox, and geez, did they make a statement. I will say though, like, they've had a pretty easy draw so far, so things are going to heat up for them over the next 4 or 5 weeks, but you can only beat what's in front of you, and that was a statement win for sure.
Pity, how impressed were you with the Canes' performance against the Highlanders?
oh, yes. I was pretty impressed there. I think Cam Roigard's, coming into his own now, getting a feel of driving the team. But not only that, I mean, having Ruben Love come back as well from his injury, and just using his vision, his spark of energy on the attack side of things, sort of, I guess, helps build confidence within the team as well. But not only that, when you've got a forward pack that's quite dominant, especially around our loose forward trio, carrying really well, getting over the advantage line and being able to recycle the ball. I feel like, I know it's only early days, but I feel like they're heading in the right direction in terms of style of play that they want to play. It's a bit different to what we've seen. There's a few changes to little parts to the attack, especially off set piece, which is good. I mean, that was almost a team try, the Flanders try. Good strong set piece at scrum, and then interplay between the backs, shifting it, and then following through was Flanders in terms of finishing the job. But I mean, I feel like they're doing really well with the attack side of things, and yeah, I would have expected a bit more from the Landers, but I mean, it's still early days. They've got to come up against some big teams, so we'll see how things pan out later on in this comp.
Surely the combination between Roigard and Ruben Love, who's back on the pitch again, was one of the deciding factors in that dominant win.
Yeah, Ruben Love has an unreal skill set, doesn't he? Even just that crossfield kick. Like, he can make those X-factor plays, and he can also do the basics really well. And I think playing outside Roigard must be a heck of a luxury because, as I said before, he's almost like another first 5. The way he controls the game, his skill set, his execution, his ability to take pressure off his playmakers. He is a heck of a 9, and I'm really excited to see, like, that was their first week together, effectively. So let's see where they get to by the end of the season, because I think it has massive potential there. And with Geordie Barrett outside as your 12, what more could you ask for than your 9 and 12 combination as a first 5 getting its first proper crack in Super Rugby in that position? So, yeah, the sky's the limit for those 3. But I love watching Ruben Love play. just the confidence he has in trusting his skill set, chancing his arm, and it looks like the Hurricanes have really brought into that style of play as well. So, yeah, they're going to be an exciting combination, and one that, as a New Zealand rugby fan, I think you have to watch every week because they could dish up some real highlight plays for sure.
Cam Roigard scored a double after about 20 minutes. He was paying $6.75 to score 2 tries in that match. Whinianga Nofo had a hat-trick in the game. He was paying $13 to score a hat-trick, and there are a few that backed him. And, well, it's no surprise, really, because he's been scoring tries almost at will for the first part of the Super Rugby Pacific season, and he continued it on down in the House of Pain. Well, the pain was all about the Highlanders, unfortunately, for Southern fans last weekend. Later on Friday night last weekend, Chiefs went across the ditch to the one city in the world that Pity can't stand, Canberra, and they got done by the Brumbies. The Brumbies bounced back. They're a very, very tough team. Not a lot of people saw this coming. The bookies had the Chiefs as favourites as they went over there, but the Brumbies were very, very clinical, as they usually are, Searley.
Yeah, they pulled off another late win, didn't they? Down 24 points to 7. I thought this game was done, and I'm sure the Chiefs will be incredibly disappointed with not being able to ice that game and put them away. But yeah, the Brumbies, they're an 80-minute team, especially at home, with guys like Kale in there, with guys like Toole. They've got X Factor and Strike all across the paddock, and yeah, the Chiefs perhaps clocked off a little bit. We talk about squad depth and how talented they are, 1 to 23. I'm sure their finishers wouldn't have been happy with the way they closed that game out. Now they find themselves sitting in 6th, which I'm sure not many people would have had them in after 6 or 7 rounds in this competition. So I expect a big back end to the season from them. But yeah, this is a disappointing one, and I hope the Force feel the wrath of a bit of a bounce-back performance this week from the Waikato lads.
Pity the Brumbies, as Searley mentioned, were down by quite a bit in that second half, but they just keep grinding away. And players like Charlie Cale, who's having a monster of a season in the Lucies for the Brumbies, were part of that big comeback. Would you have experienced a bit of a comeback in Canberra by the Brumbies when the Hurricanes were up?
No, I think we were behind majority of the time, and leading into half time. So no, I've never experienced it. I mean, if we have beat the Brumbies over there. We were leading the whole time, so it wasn't an experience that I had in Canberra. All it was I didn't like that place and wanted to get the hell out of Dodge. But no, if you look at the consistency of over the years of the Brumbies, especially at home, it's not an easy task to go there to get the dub, and for them to sort of claw their way back into the game, which we know they are definitely capable of, is good signs for them because they've been on a run, haven't sort of been super successful, but they're slowly, I guess, being at home, slowly getting their mojo back. And although it was to the Chiefs boys, Searley's team, I'm pretty sure the Chiefs boys weren't expecting them to claw their way back into it. Maybe it was a bit of a shock to them in terms of the way that the Brumbies showed up in the second half to claw their way back into the game and then come away with the win. So I guess with some of their key players in the Brumbies, they've done really well. They just haven't quite finished the results. But for them to come back into the second half of the game, I felt like they stood up really well and put their best foot forward to put a lot more pressure on the Chiefs, like the Chiefs did to them in the first half.
Let's move on to Saturday afternoon, where the Reds went across to Fiji to take on the Drua, and wow, surprise! They held the Drua trialless in Fiji, which I would have thought not a lot of teams would have been able to do. The Reds winning that game 21-6. Well, first of all, the Reds' defense was superb on the weekend, Searley.
Yep, it was. I was surprised. I thought the Reds had rested a lot of their key players in this game and they'd almost waved the white flag and figured you can't beat the Drua in Fiji after the last couple of weeks, and they were instead targeting this game against the Hurricanes this weekend. But instead, they pick up a big win, and now they get to bring in guys like Carter Gordon and Fraser McWright fresh for this game in Wellington. So, yeah, all eyes to that one, but well done to the Reds. The Drua were on a bit of a roll, especially at home, so it's a big scalp to claim, and it's one of those games where come the end of the season and you're fighting for perhaps a home semi or a home quarter, you look back and you think, geez, it was important we picked up a win like that, when a lot of other teams in that top six will be thinking the opposite and thinking if only we could have gone over to Fiji and knocked them off. So well done to the Reds. They are looking very good at the moment.
Yeah, Pity, the Reds building up a wee bit of momentum there, and they could be a very, very dangerous proposition this weekend.
Well, let's hope not that they come to the Tinny House and they actually wave the white flag. But well, I guess this year they've obviously stepped up, compared to what we've seen in the past, and they're showing everyone what they're capable of. So it'll be interesting to see how the Hurricanes obviously select their squad for this week, whether they make a couple of changes, whether they stay with the same squad. But yeah. They're definitely a team to keep an eye on. Out of all the Aussie teams, they're the ones that are showing up and producing the goods at the moment.
The next game was Moana Pasifika up against the Crusaders. And there seems to be a wee bit of a theme here where Moana are able to stick with most teams right up until half time. They score some very, very nice tries, but then just the depth of their opposition and their lack of depth that they have coming off the bench, Searley, just means they just run out of a wee bit of gas in the second half, and other teams put a big score on them, unfortunately.
Yeah, it takes a 23 to win games against quality opposition, doesn't it? And unfortunately for Moana at the moment, it looks like they have 17 or 18 guys that are probably Super Rugby level and can go at it week to week, but it's that drop-off between the rest of the players that unfortunately can catch them out at times. I also think the Crusaders kind of hit their straps properly in the second half and really clicked into gear, and they looked good once they did it. I thought Bell was really good at hooker. I thought Ethan Blackadder was pretty relentless throughout this game as well. Shea Fihaki, he looked impressive too. Yeah, they were just on another level in that second half, and it's unfortunate for Moana because I got excited for them at halftime. I thought, they're back at Albany, and perhaps that's pushed them to play their best footy, but unfortunately not the case. A decent showing for 40 minutes, but you have to play the full 80 against a side like the Crusaders, and it'll be interesting to see how much they take from that and if they can build some momentum off the back of it.
Yeah, it's some very, very good performances by a number of those Crusaders. Pity in that match, George Bell picked up a double. Shea Fihaki scored a couple of tries as well. So although they've had an up and down season, they seem to start to be taking a bit of shape now and looking like Crusaders teams that have won championships before. So are you wary of this Crusaders team?
I think we all have been wary of them. It's just whether the opposition that go down and play them or they go up against is understanding that they're good enough to beat them. So, watching that game, if you look at Moana's game for 50 minutes, they were really competitive, and then obviously that we're used to sort of the second half from last year's season. Second half, they've always come to life. If they keep the scoreline close, but obviously this time around hasn't been the case. They've a few weeks they've sort of kept everything quite tight, and then it's sort of been a blowout in the second half. So yeah, I guess we've talked about the depth and how many competitive players can compete at Super Rugby for week in week out for 80 minutes or 60 minutes, and you need to start thinking about like how can we improve that second half so that we can, recreate what they had last year? With everyone being on board and taking some good games and winning them last year. To this year, they're giving themselves opportunities, but they're just not finishing strong like we want them to. So, can't take anything away from the Crusaders. They showed up. for 50 minutes, and they decided to put the foot on the throat and let them know why they've been contenders for quite some time now.
On to the next game, and the Blues went across the ditch to take on the Waratahs, Searley, and at halftime, it was looking a wee bit shaky for the Blues, but talk about putting the foot down. It was good to see Beauden Barrett. He's getting more minutes under his belt and getting a lot more comfortable, but that Blues team, looking dangerous.
Yeah, they are. At 20 points to 8, I thought, oh no, they've found a banana skin game here, and unfortunately they've tripped up, because we have said the Tars have been struggling this year, but we know at home when they get things right, they can put up a decent fight, and it looked like they were going to do that. I think that try to vie kind of changed the momentum. Thought Barrett controlled the game really well. AJ Lamb, outstanding. He's another one that's probably been hard done by over the last few years to not wear the black jersey. I thought he was great in this game. Sam Derry, a real workhorse in the pack as well. So, yeah, the Blues have got themselves a really good squad. They've got a forward pack that is just physical and pretty tireless in there. And then they've got some strike out wide. And with Bodie pulling the strings, they've still got Pasifika to come back if they need him. Zahn Sullivan's playing well too. So, yeah, things are looking pretty up for the Aucklanders. I'd have to say, when you look at the competition at the whole at the moment, I'd probably put them as the best team in the comp. I know the Canes are top and the Blues are second, but quality of opposition, I think the Blues have had a harder draw so far, and I think they'll be pretty happy with where they're at the moment, with still some talent to come back into the mixer.
Should we move on? Should we let's move on to our trading places section of the podcast. And that's where we look at any past or present rugby player and who might be successful at another job or occupation. This week, we're going to have a look at rugby players, past or present, who may have made great MMA fighters, with Israel Adesanya stepping back into the ring this weekend, this Sunday. So, and I thought we should look at a heavyweight and a lightweight. So we'll go to you first, Searley. Who do you think would have made a great heavyweight first?
I went with Bucky's Botha. Loved a bit of niggle. Loved the tough stuff. Loved the scrap. I think his mindset would have him ready to go against anyone. He wouldn't back down, that's for sure. What an intimidating guy to have in the cage. I was going to go with him or Henry Tailangi, because I feel like he would just terrify people at first sight as well. But I'll go with Bucky's. I can just imagine him just dominating in the UFC for sure.
Pity, who, and you would have played with a few of these guys. Who do you think would have made a great heavyweight MMA fighter?
I've got two for heavyweight. One being Tana, because I know he does BJJ, so he'll likely get in close and try and tap someone out or put them to sleep. And the other one would be Hikawera Elliott, because I remember Hika used to be hard into karate, I think it was, and he liked to throw the hands a bit. So, mine would have been those two.
When you say Tana, did you say he's into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Yes, he is. Had his own studio at his house out in Karaka when he was coaching the counties boys, and he used to have training in his little studio that he had at the house. He's still competing, actually.
Wow, I thought, someone like a Sonny Bill, who we know took up a bit of boxing during his rugby career, or Liam Messam, who took up a bit of boxing after he finished playing rugby. I thought, one of those two. I'm just trying to think of a current player, and I went back even further. I thought Richard Lowe, who we know has a very good elbow, but I thought of the current crop, maybe someone like Tupo Vai. I thought he never gives up, and he's got a bit of an engine on him, and I think he could actually make it. I think I don't know if he's ever done any sort of sparring or that, but he looks like the player that would have the skills to actually take that on. So we'll go to Searley now for his lightweight player who may have made it as an MMA fighter.
I have bent the rules slightly. I've gone lightweight in terms of height, but middleweight in terms of weight category. And that is one of my favorite players ever to watch, Sam Tuitupo. Famously stepped into the boxing ring and made light work of Roy Asatasi, who I thought could throw hands as well. And slamming Sam, if he doesn't punch you in the face and knock you out that way, imagine him just flying in to tackle you straight away. He'll break your ribs and you'll be forced to submit straight away. I used to love watching him just punch way above his size, and I think he would go great in the MMA world.
Pity, your lightweight?
I'm like Searley there. I'm cheating a bit, but I was going to go with Benji Marshall. I know the family history around the fighting in terms of competitive fighting. His cousins, or his uncle's a black belt. I think it's in BJJ as well. But they also do other forms of combat. So, and I know Benji likes to throw his hands if he gets into an altercation when he was playing. So I'll go with Benji.
Nice. I wasn't sure. I looked back and I thought maybe someone like the Otago halfback Stu Forster, who he always looked. He was always in and amongst it. Yeah, he was always right into it. Or someone right now, Leroy Carter, who just seems to have no fear. That man, he'll run 100 a mile straight at you if he has to. So yeah, I thought he wouldn't be the worst MMA fighter. Right, let's have a look at this weekend's games. And, of course, the team lineups haven't been named yet, but the bookies do have the odds out for all of this weekend's games. If we just have a look, the first game here is
Moana
Pasifika up against the Highlanders, and they're all very, very significant outsiders this weekend. And in fact, it'll be interesting to see if anyone here thinks there will be an upset this week. We had a few last week. Brumbies upsetting the Chiefs. Who else was there? Anyway, Moana Pasifika, they're $5.50. The Highlanders are $1.13. Moana Pasifika are 15.5-point underdogs, and the game total is set at 64.5. That is a massive, massive game total there. Searley, how are you? Can Moana Pasifika pick up a win here?
Well, first of all, I'll keep an eye on that points total. The weather in Auckland this week and this weekend is not meant to be great. So I think 64.5 is a whole load of points, and I don't know if conditions will allow for that. I don't think Moana will win. I think the Highlanders will want to make a bit of a statement here, and I don't imagine that they would rest any players. I think they would want to be full strength and get one back in the win column. I saw Ethan de Groot came out and said that they were incredibly disappointed with that performance. It was their second biggest ever loss in their club's history in terms of margin. So they will be out, they will be firing, and they will roll out a Rolls-Royce team. But yeah, keep an eye on that total points. I think it would be under, but I've got the Landers to win this game.
Pity, can Moana Pasifika pick up their second win of the season, or will this be a repeat of what's happened over the last few weeks? They stick close until halftime and then just get run over through a lack of a bit of depth on the bench.
Yeah, you might have summed that up pretty correct there, Paulie. But I don't know. I feel like if they can actually pull something out of the bag, this week could potentially be one of those weeks. Obviously, both teams will be wounded, and they'll be wanting to try and get back into that winning circle. Although I know out of the two, the team that's probably going to be playing, that's been playing the better footy would be the Landers. Obviously, just not last weekend against the Canes, but they'll be wanting to get everything right and hopefully push for themselves to get back into the winning circle. I was actually going to jump on that 64.5 points for my betting. But now that Searley's told me that the weather's going to be cheap, I'm like, maybe not. Might have to change.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately for Moana Pasifika, the Hurricanes have done them no favours by putting a big score on the Highlanders last weekend. And there'll be a few of those Highlanders who are hurting after that, and they will want to put on a big, big performance this weekend. And that might mean a whole lot of trouble for Moana Pasifika. Next up, the Brumbies are hosting the Waratahs. Brumbies favourites at home. They're $1.20. Waratahs are $4.40. They're 11.5-point favourites, the Brumbies at home. And the game total here is all the way down to 56.5. Searley, do the Brumbies continue on from what they did last weekend against the Chiefs?
Yeah, I think they do. I think they'll be too good for the Tars, especially at home. You could argue around the emotion and James Slipper's record-breaking performance and all that potentially taking a bit of a toll on them, but I don't think that'll be the case. I think they'll get up for this game against their inter-country rivals, and I think they will beat the Tars fairly comfortably. I think the $1.20 and the line is about right. They should be too strong.
Pity, can you see the Waratahs challenging the Brumbies here, or will the home team just be too strong?
I think the home team will be too strong for this in this matchup, but you just never know with the Tars. They might actually show up and have a different mindset leading into this, being a grudge match between the two Aussie teams. And, you know, I guess for bragging rights for the year, both teams will be wanting to be able to give it to the other players, you know, in terms of if they win. So, but I can't see it happening. I can only build on what we've seen previously with over the weekend, and Brumbies are the type that are in a lot more, I guess, in a better position to play better footy.
Saturday, and the Hurricanes will be hosting the Reds. The Hurricanes $1.17, the Reds $4.80. The Hurricanes are 13.5-point favourites at home, and the game total set at 59.5. Searley, the Reds at their best, they'd challenge the Canes here, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think the 13.5 is a little bit harsh. As I mentioned, quite a lot of the Red Star players got the rest last week. They didn't make the trip to Fiji. So bringing back Carter Gordon, Fraser McWright, and guys like that will have a big impact on this team, and they'll be ready to go. So I expect the Canes to be too strong at home for sure, but I'm not 100% sold on that 13.5. I think the Reds have the potential to make it closer than what that line suggests.
Pity, the Canes 13.5-point favourites. I mean, they did beat the Highlanders by 43 last week down in Dunedin, but 13.5, is that a true reflection of how this game might go against the Reds this weekend?
I guess it depends on the weather. Whether you've got that southerly and it's wet and miserable, then we could be in for another dogfight between the two teams. And we've seen how unsuccessful the Canes were when they played against the Fiji Drua. But I mean, if it is a dry track, I expect the ball to be thrown around like they've been doing in recent weeks when there is a dry track. And if it is, I expect the Canes to be a bit more dominant. But it's not going to be easy. Like you said, the Reds have prepared for this, rested a couple of key players, and hopefully they're nice and fresh to come to the Tinny House and try and get a scalp. But it's not going to be a blowout. It should be pretty tight, I reckon.
I've just looked at a brief forecast for the Wellington area, and it looks like a couple of cloudy days on Wednesday and Thursday, a shower or two on Friday, but then cloud with a bit of sunshine on Saturday. So we should get a good track on Saturday for some good running rugby between the Hurricanes and the Reds. The Blues host the Fijian Drua on Saturday night up north. The Blues $1.06, the Drua $8. They're 20.5-point favourites, the Blues, and the game total is set at 56.5. Searley, how's this going to go?
Yeah, initially I thought perhaps the Blues might look to rest a few bodies, but then I saw that they have the bye next week like a number of teams do, so that's their chance to rest. So I can't imagine too many changes for the Blues. I think they will want to put on a bit of a performance here and try and bank maximum points. If this game was in Fiji, I'd be a little less confident, but I do expect the Blues to win and win fairly comfortably, similar to that performance they put on against Moana the other week. I think the margin will be quite close to that, 30 plus points. I can't see how the Blues not covering something like that. So I think the 20.5 is a great get.
For you, Pity, the Blues, big favourites against the Drua, but can they cover that sort of line?
Watching them get a donut last week, no tries, might be a bit tough for the Drua to cover that. But I mean, Blues, in terms of if they continue what they've been doing, especially after last week, having to fight back and understanding, how to play footy properly in the second half, and I guess it'll definitely be a tough night for Drua. But if they get the opportunities, I'm sure that there'll be a few opportunities.
Oh, he's frozen. Yeah, he's frozen. We'll move on to the next game then, Searley, the final game of the round, where the Chiefs will be in Western Australia to take on the Force. The Force, $5 underdog at home, $1.16 on the Chiefs. The Force are 14.5-point underdogs, and the game total there is set at 63.5. Look, if they can put on that first half performance that they did against the Brumbies, I don't think they will take the foot off the gas in the second half, or they won't let the Force back in like they did the Brumbies last weekend.
No, I guess traveling from Canberra to Perth is a little bit better too, rather than coming from New Zealand to Perth, I would imagine. But at the same time, the Force off the back of a bye, and they haven't made things easy for teams. Like, they came over here and did a 3-week tour of New Zealand, and they didn't roll over either. They made that Hurricanes game really tough. So yeah, I don't think the Chiefs will be underestimating them, that's for sure. But I think, they will really want to avenge last week's loss, and they kind of need to click things into another gear now for this second kind of third of the season, I guess you could frame it as, because I think they would have had a lot higher expectations than sitting in sixth. It's still early enough days, but you need to bank games like this against opposition that you should beat, regardless of where it's played. Like, Perth adds a factor for sure, but surely the Chiefs get this done.
Pity's back with us, and we're looking at the Force Chiefs game, and the Chiefs, surely they bounce back after that loss to the Brumbies last weekend, Pity, and maybe the Force just feel the brunt of that payback.
Yeah, I would hate to be playing against the Chiefs this week, especially after last week, having a lead and then the opposition coming back and winning the game. So I'm pretty sure they'll be making sure that that doesn't happen again this week, and they'll want to make sure that when they do strike, they continue all the way through and win the game. I know I'd be gutted. I would have been gutted if that was me and those in that team that we started really well, only for us to blow that opportunity. So yeah, I'd probably feel a bit sorry for the Force this week.
Right, let's have a look at how our betting went last week, and it was just me, Steve, and Goldie. We'll start with Goldie. His best head-to-head was the Blues at $1.45. Tick. Nice win there. He then went the Crusaders minus 26.5 at $1.90. Nice one there as well. His try scorer, he had Jock Campbell to score a try for the Reds. No, Jock Campbell, well, he got a yellow card, but no, unfortunately didn't score a try. His best margin bet was the Chiefs to win by 1-12 against the Brumbies. No good there. And then his best bet of the round was the Highlanders plus 6.5, which also no good, not even close. Steve, his best head-to-head was the Brumbies at $2.90. Nice win there for Steve Devine. He then went the Highlanders plus 6.5. No good. He had Sam Darry to score a try for the Blues. No. He then had, now he went 2 margin bets. He went the Blues to win by 13 or more against the Waratahs at $2.90, and that was a win. And then he said, also take the Blues to win by 11 to 20 at $4, which also came in. So a big week for our good friend Steve Devine. And then his best bet was the Blues to win by 11 to 20 at $4. That was sensational tipping there. I went with the Drua as my best head-to-head. Wrong. I went with the Blues minus 5.5. Yep, that's a win. I went with Caleb Tangito to score a try. No. And then I went with the I went with the Crusaders to win by 13 or more against Moana Pasifika at $1.20, which came in. And that was also my best bet. I was playing it safe. So let's get on to this weekend's betting. We'll start with your best head-to-head for this week. And we'll start with you first, Searley.
Brumbies, $1.20, straight up the guts.
Yeah. Pity.
Haynes.
Oh, Canes at $1.17. Nice.
I'll take it.
Look, I was going to take the Brumbies, but Searley's taken them. So I'm going to take the Chiefs at $1.16 to beat the Force in the final game of the round. Next up, your best point start or line bet, Searley.
Blues minus 20.5.
Against the Drua. Yep. Pity.
Ooh. I might have to go. I'm going on a win. Go with the Brumbies. What have they got? They've got. Can you tell me?
Brumbies, they are minus 11.5.
Wow. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, okay. So Pity's gone with the Brumbies minus 11.5. Not with a whole lot of confidence, though, by the way he said it. I'm going to go
no, I'm confident.
No, you didn't sound confident. I'm going to go with the Highlanders minus 15.5 against Moana Pasifika. Just think that, yeah, this is going to be, it's going to be nasty. How about an anytime try scorer? Now, teams haven't been named, but let's have a little go anyway. Searley, you?
I'm going to go with a guy I've been calling the superfood, Charlie Cale. He lives up to his last name. He just scores tries nonstop, that bloke. So back Cale in.
Cale, nice. Go green. Pity?
I'm going to go with any Canes winger. Because I don't know who's
winger.
Well, don't know who's starting, so I've got to guess.
I'm guessing
you want Whittingham, don't you?
Yeah, I'm guessing you're saying Whittingham. That's what you're saying.
Well, okay then, for double.
To score 2.
He's just jackpotted it. I tell you what, if you win, maybe you could use some of that money to pay him out of his contract in the UK and we can keep him here because he looks like an All Black winger to me.
How good has he been going?
Yeah.
Unreal.
There would have been a couple of bloody was it, which game was it? The first round. He would have had a hat trick then too, but gave it to Morby.
That's right, over the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a try scoring machine. He's going very, very well. Look, I'm tossing up between Carlo Tizzano, who he certainly does know the way to the try line. In fact, I'm going to go Carlo Tizzano to score a try this weekend. Next up is your best margin bet. We start with you, Searley.
I'm going to go Hurricanes 1-12 at $3.15.
Nice. Pity.
I'll go Brumbies 13 plus.
Wow. Brumbies 13 and over.
He's all in on this Brumbies game, man.
He
Makes
is.
me nervous.
Have to.
13 and over. That's $1.95. And I am going to go, well, yeah, I'll stick with the Highlanders, and I'll go Highlanders 13 and over, and that is paying $1.57. Highlanders 13 and over. Now your best bet overall, and it can be one of the bets you've already had. Searley?
Let it rain. Under 64.5 points. Moana versus the Landers. I'm hoping the weather gods, the team at Net Service, get this one right, please. It buckets down in Albany, and we have ourselves a tough encounter. 30 points to 15 odd, and we go under 64.5. Let it rain.
Pity?
I'll go with 56.5 plus Brumbies Tars for Brumbies.
Jeepers, is that the one game you're looking at?
But it's,
You're
I
going
wasn't getting the
over-
other one's game, but I'm going all in on this one.
So you're going over 56.5 in the Brumbies Waratahs game.
That's combined points, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Oh, good.
Total points for the game. Yeah. Oh, gee. Oh, Finney Young and Norfolk 2 tries. Oh, I love that. That's great picking. I'm going to go with, should we just keep it safe again?
Boring.
Oh, yeah, okay. No, I won't then. I'm going to go in the Reds Hurricanes game. I'm going to go Reds to lead at halftime, Hurricanes to win. Okay, and that is paying $7. Reds to lead at halftime, Hurricanes to win, $7. Boom. We've gone through another pick and go. Right, Pity. What are you doing up in Palmy?
Oh, it's the volleyball nationals, secondary schools. I here to watch and support my daughter in her school. So popped up to watch her morning game, which is in about 2 minutes.
Oh, well, we better hurry up then. What school, what college are we talking?
Whitby Collegiate.
Whitby Collegiate. Where's that?
It's out in Whitby in Puriru.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know it well. And what are you up to this weekend then?
So we've got our first preseason, second actually, but first preseason head out against Fielding on Saturday up at Rugby League Park, which will be awesome because I haven't been there in ages. So yeah, looking forward to that, and then be caddying for my two sons on Sunday. So not much really happening. Oh, I'm probably head along to the game with we got Japanese students here too that have come over. So we'll take them along to the Hurricanes game.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Searley, I'm guessing you might be at Mount Smart this Friday night?
Yep, sure am, to watch the 2026 minor premiers go to work against the West Tigers. So looking forward to watching that. And then Saturday, Northcote's taking on Massey at home. I'm coaching the backs. I was meant to just be helping out. Now I'm coaching. Great stuff. Wife is absolutely fizz. Takes up more time than playing. May as well just strap on the boots. But hey, I'm a sucker for punishment. Just love the club, love the lads. So, yep, I am coaching. I'm coaching the boys that I played with last year. And, yeah, it's proving difficult at times, but still good fun. Just trying to get that balance right between being really good mates and enjoying a few tins together and then actually coaching. So, yep, we'll see how it goes.
If only Dave Rennie had known, he might have given you the call, Searley. Gee.
Well, the big keyword was culture, and I'm full of that, mate. I tell you what. So, look, hopefully that gets me all the way. But yeah, we'll see how this rookie campaign goes. I don't have aspirations of being a coach. It's just the joys of club rugby these days. There's not that many people putting their hands up, and mine got raised for me, so I will do the job.
Fantastic, right? That's all we've got time for this week
what are you up
on
to?
the Pick and Go. What?
What are you up to this weekend?
I'll see you, Searley at Mount Smart.
Oh,
And then I'll be back home doing stuff around the house. Not that I'm not a handyman, but I'll be doing stuff around the house. I know.
Well,
So
sounds a
if
little
the
bit
Wires
dirty when
win-
you say it like that, boy.
yeah, hard out. If the Wires win, Paulie, will there be any video footage of potentially some dancing going on tables, maybe, or
what?
Oh,
Well, you're talking about
sorry,
Searley?
I was talking about. Oh,
Oh,
no,
you,
I thought it was
Paulie,
you.
with your famous selfies. Come on.
There'll be nothing like that going on. I'll just be very happy to see the Warriors put on another big performance and start the season 4-0. Wowee. Sensational. Anyway, that's the other code. We've got another podcast for that. Don't forget, tune into the Advantage line every week. But in terms of this one, the pick and go, we've got through to the end of another week. And we'll be back again with another episode in 7 days' time.